let me introduce Space Phoenix Systems. Space Phoenix Systems is developing a cargo-focused, high-cadence, on-demand space logistics fleet in North America. The company is providing fully managed launch and return services designed specifically for microgravity research and in-space manufacturing, which both are super hot right now, as you guys know. By optimizing mission architecture and simplifying access to LEO, SPS is enabling scientific, government, and industry customers to conduct space-based research and production more efficiently and cost-effectively. A couple things that sets the company apart: strong market traction, which is what all the investors are looking at, 300 million pipeline, 9 signed LOIs, as well as 1.2 million in a US DoD contract. They have a cargo-focused logistics model, which means dedicated on-demand space cargo services. Interestingly, they have a unique return-capable infrastructure, which Andrew will talk about. Economical, reliable return trip payload delivery. And finally, they provide end-to-end mission management. So it's a fully managed service. It reduces complexity and cost. And apparently the customer base has been extraordinarily receptive to that so far. So again, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. I'll turn things over to Andrew Parlock, who is the CEO and founder of Space Phoenix Systems. Andrew, thank you, and thank you for sharing, and welcome.
Yeah, and I feel like my job is done. So everybody, I don't know how many space nerds we have on the phone. I'm just going to translate a few things that Tien said. I am Andrew Parlock, the founder and CEO. I'm going to introduce some of my team, though the team is extensive and not everybody will get introduced. But Tien mentioned LEO. This is LEO, low Earth orbit. We are myopically focused on developing the missing piece of the new low Earth orbit economy. That is how we are going to get manufacturers, researchers, folks into low Earth orbit, manage their mission, and come back. I'll tell one or two stories throughout today about our current client base, talk a little bit about our revenues and our projections. I will tell you, there's a couple names on here I recognize from when we did the last virtual event. I think it was in November. Those that were in the event in November, you're going to be pleasantly surprised at our momentum and what the team looks like moving forward here. So without further ado, I want to introduce my co-founder, Kendra Parlock. Kendra, if you could just give a few words about your role here. Kendra is a strategic advisor right now, and coming before too long will be helping us as with our innovation as a chief innovation officer. But right now is our strategic advisor.
Yeah, good morning. Great to see everyone. I'm Kendra Parlock, co-founder serving as advisor at Space Phoenix, coming from a background in advanced manufacturing, material science through my career at DuPont, W.R. Grace, and Cabot, and also bringing my government and public service experience with managing workforce development at Empower. So excited about sharing our progress with you today. Thank you.
And what's really great about Kendra's background in workforce development, we are currently working a NASA contract, a NASA proposal, excuse me, for the new workforce in the space economy. And we're taking a very unique approach. And one of the people helping us take that unique approach is Dr. Rose Hernandez. She hates when I call her doctor, but it is a fact. But Rose has joined us as our Chief Science Officer. Deep background, comes from the International Space Station. So Rose, if you could just give a few words as well.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Andrew, and very nice meeting you all. Like Andrew says, Rose Hernandez. Before joining the Space Phoenix Systems, I actually serve as the domain expert for in-space manufacturing of advanced materials at the International Space Station National Laboratory, but I also work very closely with the NASA portfolio in this area. And so that experience actually made it very clear, like if we want to scale the breakthroughs that are being developed, because this is happening, this is not future, this is happening, but we're looking to scale, we need the reliable access to space and the dedicated environments where, the R&D and manufacturing systems should not compete with human operations. So this is where I just, decided I need to join Space Phoenix system. And I know these founders for at least 3 years. And we're focused on building those systems that will make that possible. So we need that cadence, which is what you're going to hear today. And I also want to invite anybody that wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn so that we can talk a little bit more about the science, because I just mentioned there's a lot of breakthrough technologies that are being developed. So if you want to talk about that and how we're going to enable that and the scaling, please reach out. And thank you for your partnership. I'm looking forward to discussing more. Thank you, Andrew.
Really great. Yeah. So you're going to hear throughout today, I'm going to go through the presentation a little bit. I have a few more introductions to make. Everybody, we're the middle piece. You've heard me mention I say this all the time. We're the unsexy piece. Rockets are being taken care of, launch is being taken care of, lots and lots of folks are taking care of payload. It's this middle piece of logistics that the market is missing. And one of the people that recognized that very, very early on, we became their very first portfolio company. And joining us, formerly the space portfolio lead of the National Science Foundation, we have Anna Brady Estevez, now of American Deep Tech. And as I said, Space Phoenix Systems was American Deep Tech's very first portfolio company. Anna comes with a wealth of space knowledge and chose Space Phoenix as our first portfolio company. So we're pretty honored. Anna, if you would say a few words about Deep Tech, American Deep Tech, and your relationship with Space Phoenix.
Thank you for inviting me today, Andrew. As an investor, I guess I just want to start off also saying I think everybody on the line is accredited investors. So my expectation is that everybody here is able to assess these opportunities. And so I'm really going to speak a bit more from personal perspective and personal view, which I can just say, everybody should make their own assessments. But I had the opportunity to work very closely with Dr. Rose Hernandez, and just have tremendous personal respect for her and her work and leadership. And I've also been very impressed with Andrew, in the roles that he's played, in leadership, various leadership roles throughout this ecosystem. And one of the things that we had very much seen, and, I think everybody's said it, but just to reaffirm that our view is that there's a tremendous space economy going forward. So in our prior institutions, we've been saying this for years, that, we would point to World Economic Forum McKinsey numbers that were $1.7 trillion space economy opportunity. My personal view is that that's a far lower than what the actual opportunity represents. And part of that opportunity is accessing, and Space Phoenix is much broader than just in-space manufacturing in terms of the potential, because there's lots of things beyond manufacturing that you would want to have that on-demand return for. But there's that in-space manufacturing. So as we talk about whether it's biotech, whether it's advanced materials, whether it's chips in space, there's a wide range of manufacturing that entrepreneurs and inventors want to build out. There can also be satellites. There can be all sorts of things that need to come back. And so what I've been hearing from people for years now is just the importance of not just being able to go up and access space or access the microgravity environment, but the importance of achieving that on-demand return. So that ability to get to where you want to go, and the ability to return to where you want to return, at the time that you want to return. So I understand that to be very much the mission and the goal that Space Phoenix is working towards, is really, providing that key service to others in the ecosystem. So we at American Deep Tech, we really look to invest in a significant number and range of companies across this and other deep technology ecosystems. So we cover AI and then deep technology areas like space, energy, biotechnology, quantum, and chips. And so we really appreciate when a company can potentially provide part of that foundational layer that's a platform for other companies as well. So we have invested already into two SPVs into Space Phoenix. I'm personally very happy, and I've put I've put personal capital into that as well. And we're coming up on another close of an SPV, and we would welcome accredited investors to join. And I understand everyone in the call is an accredited investor, but so we're happy to have previously invested, and we look forward to welcoming in those for whom this might be fit. And congratulations, Andrew, on you'll probably have to cite the exact awards, but you won the top honor in Maryland.
Yep.
And then I think Pepperdine, was it America's Most Fundable Company, or what was the title of the
Yep.
award that you got?
Yeah, so Anna is really, really kind words. Let me just jump in, Anna. We're going to jump into the presentation right now, but Anna stole a little of my thunder. We were at the end of 2025. We had gone through a 16-month process, and we were announced by Pepperdine University as America's most fundable new space startup. So anyone that wants to do the due diligence, trust me, folks, Pepperdine has already looked at everything with a microscope and awarded us. Anna Brady Estevez, her company, American Deep Tech, has also gone through all the due diligence. And we're really talking about the special purpose vehicle from American Deep Tech today. So all that due diligence has already been done. Welcome to ask questions and uncover as much as you want. But anybody that was on this virtual call 6 months ago, we're significantly more mature. Just this week, those of us in Maryland, Space Phoenix was listed as Maryland's #1 new technology startup. That was really an honor because it came out of nowhere. We Technically Magazine, which is a nationwide publication, looked across. They do it, I think, probably all 50 states, but chose us as Maryland's #1 tech startup. One other honor I want to mention: we have been chosen by Maryland General Assembly to present to the Maryland General Assembly tomorrow on the new space economy and the need to grow aerospace in Maryland. So just to give you an idea, this company that you're looking at to invest in today, we're fighting and punching way above our weight class. So let's get into the presentation. I'm going to go through a couple slides, and then we're going to introduce or reintroduce, because I'm going to introduce him real quickly right now, Tal Horton-Horseman. He is our CTO. He's going to jump into a couple slides, and Tal, when we do those slides, just kind of jump into your introduction. Guys, I've mentioned multiple times, Space Phoenix does one thing. We do one thing and one thing only. Anybody that's a business person, I don't care if you've invested in telecommunications, you invested in biotech. What you're investing in is a company that can eliminate friction. You're investing in somebody that's developed a new business model for that particular area. What Space Phoenix does is we make accessing space simple. We believe that concept is revolutionary because it's exceedingly difficult right now, right? But we don't just get you to space. This is no longer a one-way trip. Everybody that knows space knows, hey, we launch things, we never see them again. That's not Space Phoenix. We go up, we come back. We develop new products. Our customers develop new products, new medicines, cancer treatments, next generation of semiconductors, next generation of photovoltaics. They develop those in space, and we bring them back to the market to the benefit of the terrestrial economy. This is a round trip. This is the circular economy, if anyone's familiar with that concept. If you're not, ask some questions. And oh, by the way, we've got like 70 people on this line. Ask questions, folks. I'll steal all the oxygen otherwise. The team is spectacular. You're going to hear me talk about this a lot. Our technology is really good, really good. It's proven, it's robust. Tal's going to get into some of the technology later. Our business model is exquisite. The team that is behind all of this is second to none. We have a team of space experts, but most importantly for everyone in this line, we have a team of business experts. We're not just doing space for space. We are building a business that utilizes space as its backbone to execute revenue and profit. Revenue and profit are not dirty words in this startup. Very important. A lot of the folks that are on this picture are on this line today. Frank Johnson has not been mentioned. Mike Larkin, I believe he's on there. Stuart Cohen, Bob Richardson, Fawn Patrick. And one other name I do want to foot stomp on a little bit is Cindy Buto. Cindy Buto, whether she likes me saying this or not, is credited with commercializing the International Space Station back 2009 to 2014. She has now formed a company called Space Commerce Matters, and they manage our business development for Space Phoenix. We're bringing together the best of folks that understand the business of space to build a business. Okay? It's a subtle difference, everyone, but it's important as we move forward, as we become a fundable and profitable company. So Tal, please jump in a little bit, talk about our technology, why it's so important, what makes it a little bit different. Can anyone hear Tal? Because I cannot.
Negative.
Negative.
All right. Tal, I'm gonna, nope, we can't hear you. So I'm gonna steal Tal's thunder, and as soon as he comes on,
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
Okay.
We've got Frank Johnson saying he doesn't see the slides. Can everyone see the slides?
Yes.
Yes, we can see them.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Go ahead, Tal.
Okay, I assure you my spacecraft development is better than my audiovisual equipment. Leading the engineering team up here, fundamentally, I turn cash into useful hardware and software. Now, speaking of useful hardware and software, the Hermes Alpha is our minimum viable spacecraft. It is the seed from which our future fleet will grow. And its main goal is to demonstrate that we can create a functional spacecraft capable of being launched to, operating in, and returning from low Earth orbit while carrying a revenue-generating payload across multiple flights. Now, how do we do this lean, capital efficiently, and with the most manageable amount of risk? Fundamentally, that's informed our engineering strategy, which is to vertically integrate where we need to. So we own the core areas of the spacecraft structure, the re-entry system, the mechanical architecture, the electrical architecture, and the software architecture. And then we are horizontally integrated with the rest of the market to bring in subsystems from vendors such as the propulsion subsystem, the power generation, power storage. So we don't have to incur that time and cost debt to develop the systems ourselves because the industry is quite mature. Now, the vehicle itself, which you can see there as an isometric front view and an isometric rear view, is a simple blunt body sphere cone re-entry vehicle, 1.1 meters in diameter, 1.2 meters in length, 250 kilograms wet mass, and 30 kilograms worth of payload. The Hermes Alpha is a fully self-sufficient spacecraft with its own propulsion and power generation systems, and its size is a very deliberate choice. This means we can fit on all commercial rideshare launchers, think Falcon 9, Rocket Lab Electron, Firefly Alpha, and this allows us to offer our high cadence to and from space at a very low cost per kilo that we can pass on to the customer. Andrew, next slide, please. In terms of our development progress, our big milestone is that we have passed our initial preliminary design review in December of 2025, and we are now gearing up to the next milestone of a Delta PDR and then a critical design review later on this year. The big wins out of that is that we had our re-entry trajectory and dynamic simulations independently validated by one of our industry partners. And we focused on maturing our 4 core design areas of the mission architecture, the payload bay design, the propulsion system, and the external configuration of the vehicle. You can see there an image of the vehicle as part of the CFD simulations. We're also establishing a reimbursable Space Act agreement with NASA Langley's Entry, Descent, and Landing Department, and these are the best guys in the world that do this, so we are able to pull on their knowledge and
I think we lost Tal. Did everyone lose Tal? Okay, I promised Tal's spacecraft design and capabilities as a chief technology officer are better than his audiovisual. Couple things that Tal failed to mention. Hey, Campbell, let's get Tal just to cut off.
can you hear me?
Yeah, so Tal, I'll jump in. I'll jump in from here. I think I can jump in the rest. The important thing to recognize with Tal and Campbell is you have represented two. They don't like me saying this either, but I do like to brag about my team. World-class experts in reusable spacecraft. Folks, there's not a lot of people in this world that understand reusable spacecraft. We have 2 of them. Okay, so I just want you to understand how important that is to this mission. The other really important piece, well, first off, that picture in the middle is super cool. That's actually a modeling simulation of our spacecraft coming back through the hypersonic regime. I just think that's cool. I always tell Tal, we have a great video on it as well. But the other piece is Tal and Campbell are located at the John Olson Center up at University of New Hampshire. Dr. John Roth, who's one of our board members, started the John Olson Center. Why that's important? A lot of investors want to understand our facilities. Do we have our facilities requirements set? Do we know how we're moving forward? The answer is clearly yes. The John Olson Center represents 160,000 square feet of advanced manufacturing facility, down from printed circuit boards to 3D printing full spacecraft components. It is an exceedingly good use and efficient use of capital. So for everyone in this line that's looking to invest in Space Phoenix, folks, we're not going out spending money on stuff we don't need to spend money on. We're utilizing what is the most efficient way to move forward in the industry, and I think that's really important. So let's move past this. Tal, sorry you had some technical difficulties. Folks, Rose mentioned it before, Anna mentioned it before. In space manufacturing, what we call microgravity manufacturing at scale is going to transform the world as we know it. What are we talking about here? United Semiconductors, they're creating a semiconductor material in space. On Earth, that material has 2 to 4% yield. In space, over 99% yield. A 20x improvement moving it into space. Exceedingly profitable, great revenue generation. The reason I mentioned United Semiconductors is 2 reasons. They're our first customer. They're our first paying customer. I guess there's 3 reasons. They are changing the world as far as in-space semiconductor manufacturing goes, and we will be managing their first 26 missions. Okay, so they're exceedingly important to us. Next, Lambda Vision. Thanks to Cindy Buto, we're working together with Lambda Vision. Lambda Vision, incredible company. They are using protein synthesis in space to 3D print retina. They bring the retina, we bring the retina back to Earth to cure blindness. This isn't science fiction, everybody. Folks, we call this the art of the achievable. This isn't the art of the possible. This is the art of the achievable. A lot of investors ask us, is there a market? Is there a market? Tien said we had 9 LOIs. We have closer to 15. We'll have another 2 signed by the end of this month. We have a strategic partner we're developing with a company called Ready Set Jet that is developing regenerative skin care, regenerative wound care in space. Why this important? A lot of folks on this thing have done business development or are in business development. Folks, we are 100%. Every single customer we have approached has signed up for our service. I've been in business development for an awful long time. I'm sure a lot of folks on this line has. I've never had 100% success until we started Space Phoenix. just incredible. Flawless Photonics, they're developing fiber optic cables that are 100 times more efficient than anything you can create on Earth. So, folks, there is a market. It is profitable, and we'll be extracting that profit. We mentioned before we were Pepperdine's America's most fundable company, most fundable space startup in 2025. Just this week, we were announced as Maryland's #1 startup. We're just really proud of that. We're a new company. We're building. We're less than 2 years old. And we're getting accolades on top of accolades. And it's because we're at the right place at the right time with the right team and the right tech. We're in the right place right now. And oh, by the way, there's a couple questions about SpaceX. We're going to partner with SpaceX. We're not silly, but we're managing a different market niche than SpaceX, which is really important. Anna Brady mentioned this before. The economy. Wild numbers you get out there. We like to focus on the middle number, and there's 2 reasons. First off, it's relatively believable, right? You can see 2.3 trillion. But the most important thing about that number, the World Economic Forum actually released the economy will be 1.8 trillion in the next 10 years, but has the possibility of growing to 2.3 trillion if and only if logistics and cost are managed for the low Earth orbit economy. Everyone, that's all Space Phoenix does. All we do is the $500 billion upside that the World Economic Forum, not Space, don't believe Space Phoenix, but believe the World Economic Forum and McKinsey and the people behind them. Greg Autry, nominated to be the CFO of NASA, he believes it's at least 10x that number. So, folks, the TAM, the total addressable market, it's being managed. We're managing it. I've talked about all this. I think what's cool about this is our future roadmap. The Hermes spacecraft is right here. Next is Athena, finally Zeus. We destroyed all the Greek myths, but we're going right down the line, small, medium, large. And there's a really important piece of that. We're moving with the market. We're not trying to get ahead of the market. We're moving with the market. Some of our near-peer partners, notice I don't say competitors because the market's so large, we only have near-peer partners. Inversion, there was a question about inversion. Inversion's one of our near-peer partners. They're focused on a different part of the market than we are. This market's going to grow, folks, and we need not 1 or 2 more Space Phoenixes. We need probably 25 more Space Phoenixes. That's important to recognize. There's probably a couple folks out there right now asking about launch. Launch is being managed. Guys, we'll talk about TRL level in a minute. By the time we get to 2029, there'll be over 450 launches globally. We'll have access to about 250 to 300 of those launches, so more than 4 a week. Okay, so launch is being managed. We're not going to worry about launch, right? That's a part of the market that we feel is being taken care of. We're going to utilize all launch providers. Everyone asks us, "Hey, are you using SpaceX?" We're using SpaceX and I can name a dozen launch companies off the top of my head. But one of the things that we're changing is there's only 2 companies out there managing this today: SpaceX and a near-peer partner called Varda. Great companies doing really great stuff. They're not managing a $1 trillion market, multi-trillion-dollar market, just the 2 of them. We need to get on board. Oh, by the way, a little bit of trivia. The ISS, the International Space Station, will be deorbited with over 750 experiments yet to get on board. We're going to manage all of that. The market, folks, the market is huge, and the capacity is the problem. I mentioned the circular economy before. This is important. We're going up, we're coming back. Everything we bring up, we bring back. It's really important. We're changing the way manufacturing is being done, and that's critical, right? But we're doing it with partners. We're not doing it all ourselves. Again, we're myopically focused on the logistics. We're letting other people do the best part of what they do. So what we've developed a concept called returnable payload on demand. Critically important. We're going to get this industry down to 100 days or less to launch. Today, it's over 2 years. We're going to reduce the cost by 50%. This is not a cost-sensitive industry, but we want to be cognizant of cost. and we can be extremely profitable at that range. We're talking return on sales of over 100%. NRE, non-reoccurring engineering. Anyone that does work in space knows that non-reoccurring engineering is where your investment goes to die. We are saving our customers the non-reoccurring engineering, so they are literally flocking to us because they can utilize their investment as best they possibly can, as efficiently as they possibly can, and we can use ours the same. Critically important. And Tian mentioned this before. It's an on-demand, one-step logistics. I see Josh Daff is on the line here. We had a great call with Josh and his team a couple months back. And they asked, they're like, hey, Andrew, you're third-party logistics? And I said, we're not third-party logistics. We're white glove third-party logistics. This is important. We allow our customers to manage their mission and only what they do. We take care of everything else. It's really important for the industry that we get this customer focused, customer service focused mission and procedure, and that's what we're doing. I'm sorry to move so quickly here, folks. There's just a lot to cover. We mentioned some other folks are doing this. These are our near peer partners. There's a company out of Mumbai, India, Catalyx. They're quite a bit smaller than us. They're putting up about 25 kilos at a time. Great little company doing some cool stuff. Great company out of Japan called Catalyx. They actually stole one of our taglines. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. We used to call ourselves the FedEx of space. They now call themselves the DHL of space. We'll let them slide. I love it. We need as many people in this industry as we can get. And then Atmos out of Germany. Atmos is managing a little bit bigger. They're going for a 1,000-kilo vehicle. I think that's a little bit big for the market for the next 2 to 3 years, but we'll see. But I want you guys to all pay attention to something here, and you probably already noticed. Mumbai, India, Tokyo, Japan, Munich, Germany. Love all those places. None of them are US. Folks, we right now are the only company in the US focused on microgravity manufacturing at scale. We're the only ones. Space Force has recognized it. Space Works has recognized it. We've met with DIU, Defense Innovation Unit. It's being recognized what we're doing and what we're doing here in the US, and I think that's critical. Everybody wants to know about SpaceX. Guys, we're just managing a different niche. This is the SpaceX Dragon, and this light gray piece down below is what we call the Dragon Garage. This is $1.6 billion a copy. It can go up 3, maybe 4 times a year. Costs about $160 million to go up. The garage does not return. That's $600 million lost to the ether, never to return to Earth. It's a great mission. They're doing really cool stuff. Very necessary. Focused on humans with all the safety and all the cost. We don't. $2.5 million a copy. Low cost, high cadence, on-demand servicing of the market. It's what the market needs. We've heard it from our customers. It was our vision, but we've heard it from our customers. We are a customer-centric company. That's critically important. It's a little bit different for a space company, but we're just managing a different niche, market niche than SpaceX. We're going to get to questions in a minute. Guys, traction is crazy. We talk about the 5 T's all the time. What's the team look like? What's the technology? What's the traction, right? Our traction is phenomenal. Army Research Labs has recognized they need a hypersonic test platform. They're going to be utilizing us. Tal completely glossed over it, but we have a reimbursable SpaceX with NASA. They don't do that with everybody. It's amazing. So we have our first agreement with NASA. Very, very important. Customers, Lambda Vision, Astro Biotech, United Semiconductors, Flawless Photonics, Astral Materials. Guys, this is a who's who of in-space manufacturing, and we're managing them all. All right, very important. Use of seed funds. Our cap table right now sits at $40 million valuation. However, we're here talking to you today about our special purpose vehicle with American Deep Tech. American Deep Tech has brought in the valuation at $25 million. It's a little bit different structure. Okay, but you're getting a real, I don't mean to sound too salesy here, but there's no other way to do it. You're getting a real bargain coming in at $25 million valuation. There's some carrying fees and so on. There's a reason why that is. and Anna just came on screen. And Anna, you can jump in and mention a few things about this. But we're raising, I'm so sorry, we're raising 2.5 million. I forgot a decimal point there. And there's about $750,000 left on the SPV, and we're hoping to close that today and in the next couple of weeks. Use of funds, everybody, we keep it simple on purpose. 50% of the money goes to running the company. 50% of the company goes for Tal, Campbell, and the engineering team up in New Hampshire to build the spacecraft. Keep it simple. Exit, folks. We're going to hit over $200 million in revenue at a minimum by 2029. We see a strategic acquisition. Those conversations will begin in 29, and we'll probably have an exit or an IPO in 30. See no reason why that won't happen. Our revenue projections are excellent. Anybody that wants to see our pro forma, please reach out to the team. We'll get you our business plan and pro forma. We can also get you a copy of this deck. Am I at the end? I'm at the end. Look at that.
Wow, that was great.
Thank you so much. There's a lot of questions here. Let me answer the questions in the chat, and then please come on, guys. I've been talking too much here. I need some questions.
Yeah, Andrew,
here.
let me just
Please,
interrupt
please.
you for 1 second. We're going to launch the investor poll right now, and this is for people who are interested in investing or very interested. Set up a meeting. You're not interested, but you have some investors who might be interested, or you're not interested at all. And we'll keep this poll up. And then if you can participate, it'll then go off. Let's shoot for 100% participation, please. And we are not going to share the results of this with anyone except for management. So you don't have to worry about your name getting out there or whatever. But we'll leave the poll up. Thank you guys for participating. Andrew, great presentation. Why don't we roll into Q&A? Go for it.
Great. I'm just going to close this on my screen. So what does it mean to pass PDR? Who has pass-fail authority? We brought in independent experts from University of New Hampshire, Rogue Space, and our investors to manage the PDR. Those that don't know what PDR, Tal's going to correct me because I was always screwed up. Preliminary design review. Did I get it right, Tal? It is the initial gate that you need to go through to start what I call bending metal. Folks, we're not PowerPoint Rangers. Anybody that has the capability of getting up to New Hampshire, please do go visit Tal Campbell and the team up there, and you'll see a satellite being built. It's awesome. It's quite frankly, it's awe-inspiring. Okay, boom. Let's see here. Thanks for joining. That's Emily. That's from Connectpreneur, Tien. How do you compare your business model to SpaceX and other competitors? Do you have reoccurring revenue? That's one of the coolest parts about it, right? You know, if we think about the market today, right, people have to get up into space, right? They have a mass, they have a size, and they have a power requirement. That's how pricing is done today. Our model is going to be a little bit different. It's not just power, weight, size, power, and weight, what we call swap. But it's how long do you need to be up? Do you need to face to the sun? Do you need to face away from the sun? Do you need to go on a different orbit? Do you need to return in a week? Do you need to return in 6 months? Right. So our model, do we have reoccurring revenue? We will have a whole stream of reoccurring revenue because each one of the satellites are reusable. Think of it very much like a commercial cargo focused company or logistics company. All right. We can get into more details on the business model. Please reach out to me, reach out to the team. We get into more details. But Joseph Gabriel, that was a really good question. Comparing it to SpaceX, it's really different. SpaceX is a launch company. Okay. We are a logistics company. So it's a little bit different, but we love SpaceX's model and the reusability, and we're going to lean on that a lot. And SpaceX is going to be a partner of ours. We're actually meeting with the mergers and acquisition team from SpaceX in a couple of weeks. It's been a tough meeting to get. I'm not going to lie to you. What other risk and best positions and key milestones you intend to achieve with funding revenue product? A second. Okay, so Hold on the chat. We got Marco Rubin has got his hand up. So let's go with the people that actually have the hands up. Marco, why don't you ask your question here? This way we get a live question.
Yeah, hi Andrew and Tien, Anna as well, and Rose. Good to meet you. Hey, so a couple of questions, and I'll just throw them in any random order here. Number one, can you characterize the sources of demand pull through, whether it's I don't know, name a customer or a customer type that is driving the type of content that's going in the vessel, number one. So another, try to characterize, is there a common theme in the type of material that tends to be dominant? So that's number one. Number two, back to inversion, is you mentioned there's a partnership. Could you further characterize that? I'm not too familiar with them. I know of them. I have what I would call website knowledge, but not much more. So if you could describe your relationship with them, and let me stop there with those two.
Okay, let's start with the second question first. I know Justin and Austin well. They're the founders of Inversion. Inversion is focused purely on getting cargo into space, waiting until that cargo is ready to be delivered and delivering it back to Earth. They are pure logistics provider. They are on record. It's on their website. They are not supporting microgravity manufacturing in space, okay, or microgravity manufacturing. They're not supporting that. We, on the other hand, flip it. Part of our mission, yeah, we may bring stuff up and bring it back. That's a great mission. But we're really focused, this gets into your first question. We're really focused on the folks that are trying to get material and processes into orbit, manufacture, and deliver those back to Earth. So right now, and Rose, I may want you to comment on this. Right now, we see three primary verticals. One is semiconductor material manufacturing. That is United Semiconductors, Astral Materials. Pretty soon, Marco, did I lose you? Oh no, there you are.
I'm here.
And then there's a company called Single Crystal Diamond that will be coming into the fold. So all three of them are semiconductor material manufacturing because there's so much value in creating those materials in orbit. Second is the biotech space. There's so much value in the biotech. Actually, from at that time with ISS, Rose released a paper. I guess it was almost a year ago now, Rose, right? Where you can test biopharma materials about 10x faster in orbit than you can on Earth.
Correct.
Imagine the value to a pharma, a big pharma, a Pfizer, a Merck. It's incredible. The final one is one that we have just been establishing. It's tech demonstration. The most obvious customer here is Space Force. Okay, we've had really mature conversations with Space Force. All right, and the reason is if you look at Army, if Army wants to test something, they go to White Sands Missile Range and they blow stuff up. Navy wants to test something, they get out into the ocean and they blow something up. Air Force wants to do it, they get into the air and they blow something up. Space Force wants to do something, they have no ability to do tech demonstration in the environment that they function. We're going to change that. Okay, so we're going to be a tech demonstration platform for not just Space Force, but for NASA, others that want to do that. So that's where we're getting most of the pull. But Rose, I'd love to get some more color on that.
Yeah, so I mean, to be very simple terms, we are not passive. We are going to allow this payload to go through whatever processes it needs to go through. Like one approach is just to flight materials and let it just sit in space, right? That's okay, right? That might be enough. But what we are providing is all of the infrastructure so that whatever that payload and testing needs to be, it happens in LEO, and that's a big difference, and that requires a lot more infrastructure. And that's where the space economy, the real value for technology advancement in space.
Rose, may I ask one more question? I'm sorry, I don't mean to break protocol.
No, sure.
If you don't mind, Tien, if that's okay as well. So how do you ensure, or do you ensure a pure microgravity environment free of disturbances? Meaning, how do you stabilize and get the full benefit of pure microgravity or near pure microgravity when there are could be, and I recognize you're not attached necessarily to a manned spacecraft where there are obvious perturbations and sources of disturbance. But how do you factor in a true pure non-noisy, non-vibration filled manufacturing environment? Because I would imagine, depending on what the payload is, that's pretty critical. So whether it's a CFIS like, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll be stepping a little bit into the area of my colleagues in the engineers here that are developing the payload bay to be, to host that and not interfere with all the rest of the system. So they are the keepers of that. But I will say you mentioned something very important. At the ISS, there are so many systems running that every payload has to go through so much testing to ensure it doesn't interfere with other systems and other types of experiments or processes that are happening. It is a nightmare. It is a logistical nightmare when it comes to integrating and managing what experiments are going to go together on a mission because of that same reason. There is too much happening and too much interference. In our case, I'm not going to say that we're simple, but we are definitely, very able to design that payload bay so that it's shielded. So, but again, the real experts are sitting somewhere else in this, in these cubes that are managing all of that.
That's fine. And thank you, Rose. That's great. I suspect
Marco, there's a real advantage to being a free-flying spacecraft away from the noise of commercial space station. Correct. Or just that.
And systems for human survival take priority over anything, obviously, right? I mean, I would want that if I was an astronaut too. And so that interferes. There's so many times you have no idea how many experiments were not able to be performed on the ISS daily because of issues and interference with human-tended systems.
Thank you.
Great questions, Marco. Who else do we have maybe live that wants to ask a question? I hope there's a couple more. We've got 10 minutes left in the presentation here. If not, I'm going to go to the chat here. So there's a question about IP. We get this question a lot. With the initial Hermes series of spacecraft, and that'll be Alpha, Beta, and then eventually a Gamma. Gamma will definitely have some IP on it. But Alpha and Beta are focused on one thing and one thing only. Everybody, we have a multi-trillion-dollar, at a minimum, of a $1 to $2 trillion problem. Depending on who you listen to, it could be 10x that. And we have two companies fundamentally focused on it right now. This is a capacity problem, not a technology problem. We are going after the capacity constraints and trying to solve the capacity constraints. Going back to the very first part, we're removing the friction. The friction right now is not technology. The friction is capacity. When we solve the capacity problem, there's going to be more and more opportunity to use new and better technologies. One last thing, just to beat this one to death. No one needs to raise their hand because I think everyone will raise their hand. In the past 2 weeks, is there anyone in the past 2 weeks who hasn't had an Amazon package delivered? Right? Don't worry about raising your hand because I know I cannot. The question is, what delivered your package? Was it a FedEx box truck? Was it the United States Postal Service? Was it a college kid in their parents' minivan? You probably don't know, and you probably don't care. What you care about is that your package was delivered. That's what Space Phoenix does. We have two companies that are looking to white label our spacecraft. Take our spacecraft, build out a fleet with their name on it that we will own and operate, but they'll advertise and sell because we don't care. We're trying to solve the capacity problem. There's no ego in this company. trying to solve a major problem within the industry, and we're going to get it done. And we're going to get it done with your help. So I hope I didn't beat that one up too much. How to block interference and keep revenue cycles limited from IP connections into DoD. I'm hoping I understand this one. You know, what's interesting, Mike Larkin, who I believe, yep, Mike Larkin's on the call. Mike Larkin did a lot of work on our projections. And then as we got our first LOI and our fifth LOI and our 10th LOI, our projections started leaning so much towards commercial that DoD becomes an add-on, an even better. But by 2029, 90% of our revenues are commercially focused. So that's kind of how we manage that. But we're gonna work with the DoD. We have conversations with the DoD almost daily. Amazon has numerous patents protecting their logistics platform. With all due respect, explanation does not achieve liftoff. Interesting, Michael. There will be patents protecting our platform. What we're trying to do right now, with only two companies even managing a multi-trillion-dollar industry, is just get folks off the ground into space and get them back. United Semiconductors, again, their first 26 missions, somebody asked about the revenue there, $32.5 million for their first 26 missions. Phoenix Hermes Alpha, our very first launch, 30 kilos up and back. We have 5 customers vying for that first mission. But folks, that satellite's not built yet, and we have 5 customers ready to come and jump on that. Low tech trunca, with no first mover advantage. Michael, I think that's a bit aggressive, but I would say incorrect as well. We very clearly have a first mover advantage for the area we're trying to manage, right? For the area we're trying to manage. Again, this is important, guys. And one area I didn't even mention, and Stuart, I'm so sorry. Guys, we're vying to be the first in-space reusable, returnable, repairable data center infrastructure. So very important. Yeah, Michael, I probably am a little bit biased, but I do spend a lot of time in the industry.
I'd
love
like to further
yeah, Rose,
add
please,
some
please.
comments here. And I appreciate Michael's comments because
Please, so do I.
we can't disclose everything we're doing, especially with some of our partnerships, right? And so yeah, it might sound like we're just still talking about that empty trunk, but there's more to it. And as you know, I don't know if I mentioned, I worked for the ISS National Lab and many of our customers for the last 4 years. So there is things that we will be announcing in the next year or so. But I understand why it comes across that way, and unfortunately, we are not able to disclose everything. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, but
one thing, Andrew,
please.
The other comment I wanted to make is, we are using off-the-shelf commodities to build out our satellites. So from an investment standpoint and from a technical risk standpoint, we are at a very, very low investment risk standpoint. From that, because we've got customers that are interested in getting back and forth, because this technology has been used over and over again at a satellite level, it takes the risk out of executing in the first few years. As we evolve, as we adopt, then I think we'll add a lot more IP to our portfolio.
Yeah, I think that's critical. I don't want to beat this dead horse too much, but we will be the first commercial company to create commercially viable semiconductor materials in space. There's a great article, Mike Larkin, who's online here, did a great article, and we only have a few more minutes, so I'm not going to be the great article called RIP Rumpelstiltskin. And if you're interested in learning more about the Rumpelstiltskin paradox, it's one of my favorite things to talk about when I'm up on stage. But we will be the first company to break the Rumpelstiltskin paradox and go online. That's that's a test for anyone that reads our article, the Rumpelstiltskin paradox, and connects with me in DC. I'll buy a round of cocktails. But let's get one more question before we get off the phone here. Do we have one more live question? There's got to be somebody out there with a question. Let's see here. We got one more here. Great analogy for oil and gas. Yep, that I agree with Nish. And Rumpelstiltskin. Well, listen, in the last 2 minutes, I will thank everyone for being online here. Really appreciate it. I appreciate the attendance. My goodness, we had at one point we had almost 70 people online. So this is a really exciting stuff, folks. We have 2 more announcements that'll be coming out in the next week. We'll have a strategic partnership that will develop an entire new biotech vertical that will be coming out. That's another that is another first mover advantage that we will be bringing to the market. We'll be creating the first in-space manufacturing at scale. So it's what I call microgravity manufacturing at scale vertical globally. And then also of the 4 in-space manufacturers of semiconductor materials in the world, 3 of them are signed up to be our customers. So we have a real first mover advantage there. So we are right at the end. Unless we have one more question, I'm going to thank everyone. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I should have put my LinkedIn profile in the chat. I'm going to put my email in the chat so you can reach out to me anytime. The good and bad news about being a startup founder is if you have my email, you have everyone's email in the company because it's pretty easy to figure out. I really appreciate everyone's time and energy, and I look forward to you being part of the Space Phoenix family. So thank you so much.
That was great, Andrew. Thank you so much. And
Thanks, Ian.
thank everybody for joining today. As mentioned earlier, this is being recorded, so we will forward a link when we follow up with you to the recording as well as the deck itself. So you can, kind of go look at it on your own time. And again, if you want to meet with Andrew or any members of his team, please go ahead and, contact them or we can help facilitate. But once again, thank you guys for joining us and we'll be in touch.